Hey, good morning. This is John. Please excuse my appearance. It's about 7:30 a.m. Saturday, June 1st, and I'm filming from outside of my home here in New Jersey. I filmed, I think, my last video outside my home in March when it was the winter time and the pool was covered. The landscaping and everything wasn't too pleasant. So just to kind of show you a quick pan here, in my backyard, there's kind of two levels of a patio. Down there is the down level. Sorry, we have a pergola, some seating. There's a chimenea where we have fires, and then you have a wooded area in the back, and then you come up some stairs, and then you enter the kind of pool area, which I'll pan now. So you'll see here, this is the pool area where we have a gated pool, concrete, tiled. In the backyard over there, we've got a swing set for our daughter, a hot tub on the other corner there, a big water feature, and then some nice seating on this side, and then on that side is our driveway and so on. So very pleasant out here, very pleasant day. And why am I filming today? Well, it's been a month since my last video. If you're tuning in for the first time, my name is John. I started a YouTube channel in January of this year, not to start a business, not to sell you something, but just really to chronicle my life and to show you how I manage setting objectives, how I look at life, my experiences. I'm not a multimillionaire. I definitely do well for myself, but I'm not like a Tony Robbins or some of those bigwig guys making multi-millions. It's a goal of mine, but I'm really here on the ladder up in my life and trying to share my experiences, hopefully help people learn, help people motivate, get people motivated, and also perhaps learn from others as well through the chat feature in YouTube or get connected with people through social media. So we'll see. But again, my goal is to chronicle my life and share how I do things, and maybe it'll help people in their lives as well. I'm filming this video today because there's a lot of things going on in my life which I just wanted to document, mostly in the sense of my career. I'm at a interesting point in my career which I want to talk a little bit about, and then I also wanted to share some things I've recently learned and gained from books I'm reading to see if it will help you out or things you can take into your own life. But a little bit about my career. I work for a German-based life sciences and technology company. I work out of my home half the time, and the other half I have the pleasure of traveling around the world, first class, staying in hotels all around the world in Europe, and it's been a cool experience. I've been there, as I said, for about 3.5 years. For that company, I work in technology and I oversee large programs that build software to let the company operate more efficiently. I manage teams in excess of 50 people, budgets over $10 million. I find creative ways to improve the company's operations and sell business cases of where and why we need to make large capital investments. So it's a real interesting job. I've been doing this almost 20 years. And over the 20 years, besides this company, I've worked at other large organizations, top 2-3 pharmaceutical companies like your Pfizer, who makes Viagra, Merck and Company, who's a big pharmaceutical company making drugs like Lipitor, which is cholesterol-lowering drugs. I've worked at financial services companies like Morgan Stanley. I've been in the music business, like working at Warner Music, who's home to bands like Green Day, Bruno Mars, CeeLo. They've worked with Madonna, Led Zeppelin, etc. So I've had an interesting career, but one of the things I'm learning, because I'm going to be 41 next month. It's crazy to hear me say that, but I'm going to be 41 years old, and you start thinking, wow, I'm almost at the halftime show in my life, and what does the last 2 quarters of my life look like? I've been blessed for sure in my life. I've had the pleasure of working with great people. I've made a good amount of money. The last 3 years at the current company I'm at, I've probably grossed just about shy of $1 million, which is crazy to hear me say, because for the last 15 years prior to this company, that's almost about as much as I've made in 10 years that I made in 3.5 years. But my point here is there's interesting stuff going on in my company, and they're going through some transformations, some reorganizations, which I don't think I'm impacted with now, but I think the writing's on the wall that in the next 1 or 2 years I'm likely to be cut, because I'm making a lot of money, I'm thousands of miles away, and people could always find a way to justify why somebody, some high-paid guy in the US, where we're in Germany, probably can be done by someone else, maybe not as good, but good enough. And I'm now taking matters into my own hands, and I wanted to impress upon you the importance of managing your own career. While it is nice and convenient to work for a company where you know you're going to get a paycheck every 2 weeks, and you have a rough cut idea what, if you're lucky enough to get a bonus, what your bonus range generally is. But the problem with that is, like, you hope, right? And you can't hope. Like it or not, business is business, and if people need to cut costs, they'll cut costs, and they won't make it, and it's nothing personal. If you rely solely and expect people to take care of you, and you expect people to manage your career, you're in for trouble. Okay, you're accountable for your career. You're accountable for almost everything that happens. Sure, there are external factors not under your control, which you can't manage, but how you deal with things is 100% in your control. How you view situations, how you look for opportunities in any situation, and mentally how you prepare yourself for challenge and for struggle. That's my point here, as I think about, which I'm no stranger to, transformations in companies, reorganizations in companies. I've never ever once been fired in a company, but you have to manage your own career, and you have to be accountable for what you do, and you have to be positive and stay positive. If all you're doing is putting your cards in someone else's hands and hope they deal you a good hand, yeah, you're putting some high-level risk out there. So that's something I wanted you to take away from this video, is to really look long and hard. What are your strengths? Where do you want to be in your life? And start thinking about ways you can get there. Sounds elementary, right? Sounds primitive, but let me tell you a quick story. For years, I dreamt about what I want in my life in terms of money and in my home situation. For 11 years, I lived in a very pretty townhome. It was about 2,000 square feet, 3 floors. We had a basement, a small little gated community, about 100 homes. I had a backyard, a small patio area. I was facing a backyard with woods, so it was a private area. But my wife and I we got married. We had a daughter, and we wanted to grow a family, and our house wasn't cutting it. I didn't want to move into something slight step up. I wanted to take a leap from where I was into a big home with a backyard, with a pool, which I knew I didn't have the money for. I didn't know how I was going to get the money for, but I started reading books by Tony Robbins and some other motivators, and one theme that was clear is it all starts with a mindset. It all starts in your head. Start with the end state. What is it you want? Think of it in clear terms. Your brain is really funny, okay? For example, your brain doesn't know the difference between good and bad habits. It just knows habits. And I also read that your brain can't really tell the difference between reality and imagery. If you're constantly visualizing something in very clear terms, that will manifest one way or the other. It's not going to happen overnight. It may not happen in a year, but it will happen. So for 1.5 years, almost 2 years, we dreamt about the kind of home I wanted. Every day I woke up visualizing, sat in my room, literally sitting on the ground, doing my morning routine. Part of my morning routine is sitting down and meditating for 10 minutes, and I visualize exactly what I wanted in all areas of my life. And 2 things I focused extremely hard on was the kind of money I want to see myself make, and the kind of home I want to be able to put my family in. And in November of last year, which isn't far away, it was 7-8 months ago, that happened. And while I didn't get a house that looked precisely what I was visualizing, all the main check boxes came out. We looked at over 25-30 homes. We knew exactly the kind of home we want. The home we found now, it came on the market a few hours after we found it. We called up the homeowners. We drove to the house. We did an open house with the homeowners. 3 hours later, we gave them an offer, and an hour after that, they agreed to sell us the home. That's how things work, I think, in life. Things can change in a moment, and you don't know when, but you can't lose hope. Martin Luther King said something to the effect of, all things that happen in this world happen because of hope. So my point to you is a couple of things. First, in your career, manage your career, figure out what it is you want. You may not know what you want 10 years from now, but you know what you need to do in the next 6 months to a year. What is it that you want? And start being committed to doing that. You'll find the universe has a way of obeying. Creativity has a way of popping up when you're committed. Really think long and hard about that. Okay? The other thing is, think about what kind of habits you have. Are the habits you have supporting the kind of life that you want? Are you the kind of guy that wakes up, or girl that wakes up at 8 o'clock on the weekend, snoozes a few times, gets out of bed about 10? Yeah, if so, unless you had a huge party the night before, I would say those are not habits of somebody who wants to win in life, because things are going to take time and things are going to be hard, and you got to put in the sweat equity to do it. I wake up at 4:30, 5 o'clock almost every day, and for about an hour I focus on myself. I don't do my job, I don't do emails, I focus on myself. I look at my goals, I read, I write, I visualize, I exercise, I started Tai Chi and meditation. These are all things I do every day, and I visualize exactly what I want over and over. And actually, let me show you something real quick. I'm reading a book. Yeah, I set a goal. I want to read 12 books this year. The latest book I'm reading is called Grit by a woman named Angela Duckworth. It's a really cool book. Talks about how important how important perseverance is, and this something called grit sometimes is more important than just having talent alone. And this is my book. I write in my book a couple times a week. I write about things I want in my life, things I'm grateful for. Look at this, February 2019. One of my goals is by April 2021, I want to have $1 million net worth. I don't know how I'm going to get there right now, but this is my goal. And I commit every day thinking about this goal, visualizing my bank account having $2 million in it. I write things I'm hopeful for. I write things that that I have going on in my life, some good, some bad. And I find this to be very rewarding because, you find a way. Here, I just did this morning, 6:55 a.m. I wrote about things going on in my life. I constantly repeat things I want in my life, constantly repeat the finance things I want. Look, here it is in March 2019. I'm so grateful for the bonus I got. I got a cash bonus and stock award. I grossed $210,000. And then you look here, some weeks before I was hopeful for $181,000. So my point is look, I don't know how and why this works, but it works. And this is a habit I've been doing for some time. So really think about long and hard, what is it that you want? Be committed and obsessed almost with visualizing those things on a daily basis. Write down what you want every day. Write down what you will do. Write down your goals. And you'll find that things have a way of happening when you least expect it and in a manner that you don't expect. But you got to start. You got to take that first step. There was one quote I heard yesterday, which is, seeing is believing is a very bad quote. Because if seeing was believing is true, then would major inventions like the car, the light bulb, ever have happened? Elon Musk's ability to create a company to put a rocket into space and visualizing how a rocket can be reused instead of the boosters getting blown up in space or departed from the main rocket in space, ever would have happened? No. But he visualized what he wanted, he had an idea, and he had the smarts of how to put together a team of smart people to make it happen. So in this case, visualize what you want first, and then believe it will happen. When you visualize in clear terms in your head what you want and believe it will happen, and you do that like clockwork every day, things have a way of working. So that's my hope for you today, is that you take some bits or morsels of info from this video. I'm just trying to share what's worked for me. Again, I know I'm not a multi-millionaire. I am somebody who's trying to make the best life possible and realize that I'm not living up to my full potential, and trying to impress upon you the things that have helped me improve over the years and establish a good well-being. So that's it. I hope you guys are well. Have a great day, and I look forward to talking to you soon. Thanks.